They seated me at the corner table during my dad's 60th birthday, which that year fell on Thanksgiving, after I flew 9 hours and paid for their hotel. My sister smirked. "No one actually likes you. They just feel bad." My mom nodded. "You're not even supposed to be here." I raised my glass and said, 20 seconds. At 5, my cousin covered her mouth. 10, my uncle stood. At 20, my mom stilled, whispering, "It's true. My name is Daniel. I'm 31, eldest son, quiet achiever, the one who always paid his own way and never made a fuss." And last Thanksgiving, I flew 9 hours across the country, paid for my parents' hotel, booked the dinner reservation, and walked into a room where my own blood made it perfectly clear. I didn't belong. It wasn't the kind of rejection you hear out loud. Not at first. It was in the way my mom's eyes skimmed past me when I arrived. The way my dad gave me a one-armed hug like I was a neighbor's kid. And it was definitely in the way Claire, my younger sister and eternal golden child, tilted her head and said, "Wow, you look tired." I shrugged it off. It was Thanksgiving, after all. Time for gratitude. I even brought wine from a vineyard near my new apartment in Oregon, the one I moved into after my promotion. No one asked about it. They just took the bottle, uncorked it, and set it in the middle of the table like a donation from a stranger. But I still sat down, smiled, and tried to settle in. The restaurant was packed. One of those upscale places with dim lights and waiters who call you "Sir," no matter your age. I'd booked it 3 months ago. Told the host we'd need a large table for 10. I paid the deposit. I confirmed the time. So when the hostess led me to a long table tucked in the back corner, I paused. Every seat was taken except one. At the far end, closest to the service door, barely lit by the flickering candle at its center. My mom looked up from her seat, next to my dad and across from Claire. "Oh, there you are," she said like she hadn't noticed I was missing. "That's yours." "That's mine," I asked. Claire smirked. "Well, we didn't know if you were still coming." I blinked. "I confirmed, Mom. Twice." She shrugged. "You didn't respond in the group chat for a while. Claire said maybe your work kept you." Claire cut her off, leaning back in her chair, glass of red in hand. "No one actually likes you, Daniel. They just feel bad." My breath caught. "What?" My mom didn't protest. She just nodded slowly and added, like she was giving directions to a lost tourist, "You're not even supposed to be here." For a second, all I could hear was the clatter of dishes from the kitchen. I looked around the table. No one met my eyes. My uncle suddenly found his menu fascinating. My aunt started fixing her napkin. Even my younger cousin, Lexi, stared at her phone like it was a life raft. And that was when I stood up, lifted my glass, cleared my throat. 20 seconds, I said. Claire rolled her eyes. "What now?" I looked at them, really looked at them, and said it again. "I need 20 seconds. At 5 seconds, Lexi slowly lowered her phone. 10, my uncle looked up, pale. At 20, my mom stilled, hand frozen on her wineglass, and whispered, "It's true." I took a breath, and told them exactly what they never thought I'd say. You don't just arrive at, "You're not even supposed to be here," overnight. Takes years. Years of being the one who steps in when your family falls apart, and being resented for it. I was 19 when Dad lost his job. The factory closed, and suddenly the mortgage was 3 months behind. I picked up double shifts at the campus library and started driving for a food delivery app at night. When Mom's car needed new tires, I paid. When Claire got accepted into NYU, out-of-state tuition, mind you, I co-signed her student loans and covered the first semester because, in Mom's words, she's fragile. We can't stress her out. I was the stress sponge. Every emergency, I absorbed it. When Dad slipped a disc and couldn't work again, I flew home for 2 weeks. I was 24. I canceled a work presentation that could have launched my career. I slept on the couch, drove him to physical therapy, bought groceries, paid bills. Claire posted #TBT selfies from Cancun. And still, Mom would tell anyone who'd listen, "We're so lucky Claire's around to lift our spirits. She has such light energy." Light energy? She hadn't lifted a finger. Once I asked Claire, calmly like an adult, if she could help with Mom's dental bill. It was $1,400. Claire rolled her eyes and said, "You're the one with the corporate job, Daniel. Don't be petty." Petty. I was sending $400 a month to my parents at the time. That's when the family started shifting. Like tectonic plates. I wasn't helpful anymore. I was expected. Expected to pay for the Airbnb when we did family trips. Expected to fly in and out on holidays no matter the cost. Expected to upgrade to first class because Claire gets anxiety in coach. Expected to pick up the dinner tab because your uncle's going through a rough patch. I didn't push back. Not at first. Because pushing back meant guilt. Daniel, how can you say no after everything we've done for you? Done for me? I built everything on my own. No handouts. No inheritance. No wedding fund. No co-signers. Just long hours and quiet sacrifice. But you don't get trophies for being the dependable one. You get receipts. Stacked high. 2 years ago, I started keeping them. Every transfer, every Venmo, every emailed flight confirmation. A digital graveyard of generosity. And then, last summer, the breaking began. It started with Claire's birthday trip to Palm Springs. She wanted to do it big for her 28th. 10 people. Luxury villa. Heated pool. Brunches and spa days. Everyone knew who was expected to cover the bill. Me. But this time I hesitated. I can't pay for everyone. I texted the family chat. 5 minutes later, Claire replied, "Didn't you get a promotion? Stop acting broke." Mom chimed in, "It's her birthday, Daniel." When I didn't respond, Dad messaged me privately, "Son, we need to talk. You're acting different. Different. For not wanting to hemorrhage money on a party for a sister who hadn't even sent me a birthday text the year before? They guilt me until I caved. Again. $4,385. That's what I paid. After the trip, Claire posted a photo carousel with the caption, "Grateful for chosen family." I wasn't tagged. That was the first time I sat alone in my apartment and whispered, "They don't love me. They love what I give them." A few weeks later, it got worse. I was in the middle of a team presentation at work when my phone buzzed. 13 times in a row. Claire. Then Mom. Then Uncle Travis. The messages were frantic. "Call me. Now. Emergency." My heart dropped. I ducked out of the conference room and called Claire. Her voice was breathy, urgent. Mom's card was declined at the salon. They won't let her leave until she pays the balance. Can you send $800 right now? My pulse pounded. Wait, what salon? Hair and makeup. She was getting her color touched up and tried the new hydration treatment. I blinked. That's not an emergency, Claire. Claire's voice went icy. So you're okay letting Mom sit there embarrassed? Mom got on the line. Daniel, please. I didn't know it would cost that much. They locked the door. I'm so embarrassed. I sent the money. 15 minutes later, Claire posted a photo of Mom's hair with the caption, "Self-care queen. No thank you. No acknowledgement. Nothing." And then came Thanksgiving. Claire offered to plan Dad's 60th. Said she had it all covered. 1 week before the trip, she texted me, "I booked the hotel. You're handling payment, right? No question mark." I looked up the total. $1,642 for 3 rooms. I paid it. Again. Then she asked if I could cover the group dinner, too. "Just put it on your card and we'll Venmo you after." No one Venmo'd. The day I arrived, Claire posted a photo of herself holding a champagne flute in the hotel lobby with the caption, "Finally reunited with the faves." I wasn't in the photo. I took a breath and reminded myself, "You're here to celebrate Dad. Be graceful." But the truth is, by the time I walked into that restaurant, by the time I saw that corner seat by the kitchen, by the time Claire smiled and said what she said, I already knew. I wasn't family anymore. I was funding. I didn't plan to go nuclear. But when you're seated by the kitchen door on Thanksgiving, after paying for everyone's hotel, after being told you're not even supposed to be there, something inside you snaps. So I clinked my glass. 20 seconds, I said, loud enough for the whole table to hear. They stared like I'd grown a second head. Claire laughed nervously. Are you making a toast? I nodded. I am. Silence fell. Lexi glanced at her mom. My Uncle Travis scratched his neck. Even the waiter, mid-pour at the next table, froze. I stood. 20 seconds. That's all I'll need to change everything. My mom's brow furrowed. Daniel, sit down. I raised a hand. No. I've earned this moment. I paid for this moment. Her lips parted, but no words came. Let's talk about seating, I said, walking toward their table, slow, controlled. I flew 9 hours, paid $1,642 for your hotel rooms, covered a $900 dinner reservation none of you offered to split, and I get the chair next to the swinging door? Like the waiter who snuck in. Claire rolled her eyes. Oh my God. Are you seriously making this about money? I stopped directly behind her chair. No, Claire. I'm making this about math. I reached into my jacket and pulled out a folded printout. Opened it like a menu. See, for the past 3 years, I've tracked everything. Every dime I've sent. Every trip I funded. Every emergency I covered. My uncle scoffed. Are you keeping score now? I wasn't, I said, looking him dead in the eye. But apparently, gratitude expired a long time ago. I flipped the page. May 12, 2022. $1,900 for Claire's car repair. Never repaid. Claire turned red. That wasn't my fault. The mechanic. July 4, 2021. Airbnb in Napa. I paid $3,200. Family promised to split later. Still waiting. Mom's mouth opened, but I cut her off. August 2023. $800 for your salon lockdown. Remember, Mom? When you said they wouldn't let you leave until you paid. I was panicking, she snapped. Panicking is what I did when I saw my credit card statement. You got a blowout and a latte. I got 19% APR. Claire muttered. You're so dramatic. I turned to her, calm as ice. And you? You told people I wasn't coming tonight. That's why you didn't save me a seat. You sat at the head of my table. I didn't know. I booked this place, Claire. She went silent. I looked down at her, then at the rest. You all sit here like a royal court, sipping the wine I bought, pretending I'm just, what? The family wallet. My cousin Lexi shifted uncomfortably. Daniel, we didn't mean. Yes, you did. I snapped. You all meant every second of this. I turned to Mom. You nodded when Claire said nobody likes me. You didn't flinch. You didn't defend me. She blinked, like suddenly realizing she was being watched. I didn't think. You never think, Mom. You just expect. That I'll fix it. That I'll pay. That I'll forgive. Her voice cracked. You're twisting everything. Am I? I held up my phone. Let me read the message you sent Claire last week. The one she forgot to delete from the family chat before she screenshotted it to her friend. I pulled it up. He'll show up anyway. He always does. Guilt is a powerful thing. Gasped. Claire reached for her phone. You went through my texts? You posted it on your story by mistake, Claire. Amelia sent it to me before you deleted it. A beat of stunned silence. Then my dad slammed his fork down. That's enough, Daniel. You're making a scene. I turned slowly to him. Scene. I laughed. I've spent 31 years watching you let this family run on manipulation and silence. And now that someone's calling it out, it's a scene? He stood. We didn't ask for this. No. You asked for my money, my time, my obedience. I looked around the table, making sure to meet every eye. But starting tonight, you don't get any of it. My mom's voice trembled. What does that mean? It means I'm done, I said. No more flights. No more hotels. No more bailing you out of salon kidnappings. No more funding Claire's luxury retreats while she blocks me from photos. Claire's face twisted. You're just bitter I have friends. I smiled coldly. You have users, Claire. The only reason they came to your Palm Springs party is because I footed the bill. Same with your birthday brunch. And your fake friends? They know it. Daniel, Mom tried. No, I snapped. You said I wasn't supposed to be here? Fine. Then consider this the last dinner I'll ever attend. The room was frozen. No one moved. No one breathed. I turned, walked back to my chair by the kitchen, and poured myself a full glass of the wine I brought. Happy birthday, Dad, I said, raising it. Enjoy the bill. It's in your name this time. Then I picked up my coat and walked out. No one followed. Not one person. The next morning, I woke up in a quiet hotel room with no unread messages. Not one. After my speech, I turned off my phone and booked a last-minute suite downtown. 8 overpriced room service. Slept for 10 hours straight. Dreamless. Peace is expensive, but it's worth every cent. When I finally turned my phone back on at noon, the notifications hit like hail. 27 missed calls. 42 messages. 17 voicemails. Mom. Daniel, how could you do this to us? Dad. You embarrassed yourself, not us. Claire. You're insane. Blocked. Uncle Travis. We need to talk. That wasn't cool. Even my aunt sent a passive-aggressive text. Family is about forgiveness. No one asked if I was okay. No one apologized. No one mentioned the money. I didn't respond. I forwarded all the voicemails to my Google Drive and archived every message. That weekend, I flew back home. Upgraded to first class, not for comfort but for symbolism. I'd earned it. I paid for it. No one else was going to take that from me. Back in Oregon, my apartment never felt so sacred. Quiet, clean, safe. For the first time, I sat on my couch, opened a bottle of my favorite Cabernet, and just breathed. No guilt, no group chat buzzing, no Claire demanding deposits for her next healing retreat. I didn't just feel free. I felt born. The weeks that followed were almost surreal. People noticed something was different. My boss called me into her office and said, I don't know what's going on with you lately, but you've been sharper, focused. I got promoted. Senior project lead. Higher pay. More autonomy. My own office with a door I could close. I joined a gym, not to punish myself but to feel my body again. Like it was mine, not a machine built for servitude. I started dating again. Real dates. Not stolen evenings squeezed between work and family emergencies. Coffee that turned into wine. Conversation that wasn't interrupted by panic texts from Mom. 3 months after the dinner incident, I hosted a Friendsgiving at my place. 15 people came. Colleagues, neighbors, a guy I'd met hiking, a woman I'd kissed under a bridge 2 Fridays before. Real laughter, real joy. Nobody asked me to pay for anything. They just showed up with pie, with wine, with stories. That night, as candles flickered and people lounged on my floor, I realized, this is family. Not the one you're born into, the one you choose. But just as I started to rebuild, the cracks in their perfect picture started to show. Amelia, my cousin, the only one who ever quietly took my side, texted me one evening, you won't believe what's happening. Claire's housewarming party had turned into a disaster. Apparently, she invited 30 people, but forgot to check her credit limit. The catering was canceled. The champagne never arrived. Guests stood around a half-decorated condo sipping boxed wine and eating cold shrimp. When Claire tried to blame the party planner, someone pulled up screenshots of her canceling last minute to save money. She cried in the bathroom for an hour. Dad didn't show up. He claimed he was busy. Mom was there, according to Amelia, hovering like a ghost with too much perfume. A week later, Claire posted a vague story. Some people only love you when you're useful. Oh, the irony. Then came the real twist. My parents' bank account got frozen. Apparently, they'd defaulted on 2 loans. The same loans I used to help cover. Mom texted me, can we talk? It's urgent. I didn't reply. She called 3 times in a row. Then, a message. Your father's health is suffering. He's under so much stress. We need your help, Daniel. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered. But then I remembered her words. You're not even supposed to be here. So I deleted the message. They had chosen a life without me. I was simply honoring that choice. And then came the most unexpected message of all. From Claire. A voice memo. I hesitated, played it on speaker. Her voice was shaky, like she'd been crying. Daniel, I don't know if you'll even listen to this, but I've been thinking about what you said, about how we use you, and I don't know, maybe we did, maybe I did. I guess I never saw it that way because you never pushed back. You were always just there. Pause. A sniff. I'm not saying sorry to get anything. I'm not doing great. And I thought you should know that. I sat in silence. For the first time in years, Claire wasn't cruel, wasn't manipulative, just human. But I didn't respond. Not because I hated her, because I needed space. Real space. And for once, she didn't follow up. That was the first boundary she ever respected. 6 months later, I stood in front of a mirror, fixing my collar, when I noticed something strange. Silence. No buzzing phone. No urgent text from Mom. No Venmo request from Claire. No guilt-heavy voicemail from Dad. Just quiet. Clean. Beautiful. That morning, I was heading to a business gala. Black tie, rooftop, one of those nights you don't photograph because you're too busy living it. My company had just signed a 7-figure client. I was being honored with a leadership award. As I adjusted my tie, a single thought passed through my mind. I almost missed this life because I was too busy living someone else's. That hit harder than I expected. Because for 31 years, my time, my money, my worth, it all belonged to them. To a family that didn't see me, only used me. A system of manipulation disguised as tradition. Of control disguised as love. And I let it happen. But not anymore. The week before, I received a package in the mail. No return address. Just a small brown envelope, sealed tight. Inside, a single object. A photo. Me, Claire, and Mom. Taken years ago at a beach in Santa Cruz. I was 22. I'd paid for the trip. Claire wore sunglasses I'd bought her. Mom was wrapped in a blanket I'd packed. On the back of the photo, in neat handwriting, "We didn't deserve you, but thank you anyway." No name, but I recognized Claire's handwriting. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just folded the photo back into the envelope, slid it into a drawer, and walked away. Because closure isn't a scene. It's a decision. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need an apology shouted through tears. I didn't even need them to understand. I just needed me. Finally, on my own side, I sold the backup phone I used for the family chat. I closed the joint account Mom used for emergencies. I blocked every number that still tried to tether me to a version of myself I no longer recognized. And I breathed. God, I breathed. People ask me now, "Do you talk to your family?" And I say this, I talk to the parts of them that live inside me. The guilt, the fear, the need to prove my worth. But the people themselves? No, we haven't spoken in months. And that silence? It's the kindest sound I've ever known. Sometimes, freedom looks like a long pause. Sometimes it sounds like no ringtone. Sometimes it feels like a deep breath on a rooftop, in a tuxedo holding a glass of champagne, looking at a city that knows your name, and not one single person in that crowd wants anything from you except for who you really are. That night I gave a speech. The lights were warm, the applause real, and I said, for a long time I believed love was sacrifice, that the more I gave, the more I'd be seen. But I was wrong. Love isn't loss. It's not giving until you disappear. It's being loved back. It's boundaries. It's respect. It's choice. And tonight I choose myself. Applause. Tears. Not mine. And then silence again. A silence I earned. Because here's the truth. I am no longer the family bank. I am no longer the therapist, the fixer, the doormat, the ATM, the safety net, the seat by the kitchen door. I am Daniel. Son of no expectations, brother to no guilt, and survivor of a family that taught me what love isn't, so I could finally discover what love is. I walk forward now with both hands open, not to give, but to receive, and this time, it's on my terms.